Andrew, considering the situation with two losses already, staring at a third, almost certainly against Alabama, who knows what the record's going to look like at the end of the season? It's obviously a disappointment. People are disgruntled about, number one, that the team's not contending for an SEC championship. Number two, that Jimbo Fisher already paid near the top of college football, ton of money for a long contract, 10 years. Originally gets an extension. I think there's a huge gap between what people are talking about and what the reality of the situation is and the stability of his coaching position. But I'm sure you hear it like 100 times more than I do. But I even hear talk now after a second loss that was unexpected, that just about Jimbo Fisher's job, about his stability there at Texas A&M, if this really goes off the rails and they really have a disappointing season.
Yeah, I don't think there's been. I mean, the extension. Obviously, we've certainly had a lot of people ask us, and there's been a lot of comments about it. I think he's got a lot of support from the administration, just coming off of last season. I think everybody understands. Injuries happen, and so I think that's been a big part of the season. There's the discussion. I think there's two parts to this. There's the discussion about well, where would this team be if Haynes King were still under as the starting quarterback, and with his running ability and behind an offensive line that has been shaky but looked better last week. Where would A&M kind of be? I think the second part of it is I don't think there's any doubt though that they have to take a deep look in the mirror this offseason, and there probably has to be changes. And I think that'll be a conversation after the LSU game about, just in terms of, is the coaching staff being maximized, or, is schematically, are things working the way that they, wanted to work? And just take a deep look at the season if it ends up being a real disappointment. And because Jimbo Fisher's contract is, it's obviously all guaranteed. There's no buyout again. So, they're very much committed to him for the long haul, especially with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the SEC. But I don't think there's any question that there has to be kind of a deep dive and look at the program as a whole and how they're evaluating things from a coaching staff perspective, and what changes need to be made to ultimately get where they need to go. I mean, there's some positions I think that have been disappointments so far. I think the wide receiver position could certainly stand to improve quite a bit more. That's one. Offensive line has struggled, but they're coming off a really good season. So I think obviously they're fine. The running backs have been the best part of the team, and there's a ton of depth and talent. They've recruited well in that area. And then offensively, just how do they continue to take strides and be more consistent? Just can get more production across the board.